I was once asked, what is the texture of your experience? I don't think at the time that I was actually thinking of an answer, as in, I think most of my thoughts stopped because it was such an unexpected question. And at some point I came to realize that it was more of a koan than, or even a rhetorical question. I remember at some point, much later, thinking that it was like an enigmatic inquiry resulting in an unimaginable answer. So yeah, I think that's how I'd describe a koan. But what are the qualities of experience? And is texture one of them? I mean, I think there's some value in exploring the koan on the basis that we're able to see what we're not and what it is not. And the only path that we're on is one of discarding the unreal to find out what is real. So I think in some ways we should be able to agree that experience is personal in the sense that it cannot be shared. Experiences can be similar. You know, we can be in the same room watching the same thing happen, but they're still personal and individual. But the knowing of them has perspective, doesn't it? If ocean waves, so take the analogy that ocean waves are conscious. They experience being a wave whilst never losing their fundamental nature of being the ocean, right? So the wave is not experiencing itself as the ocean. It can, or it is limited to its view of the ocean from the perspective of it being a wave. Does that mean that the texture of experience is wave when the wave is fundamentally ocean, though? Now, it struck me that my sense of existence, of actual beingness, the sense of me, is not a texture or, in fact, objective in any sense. And I do mean any sense. I cannot taste my beingness, or smell it, or think it, or hear it, or see it. Feelings are perceptions that seem to arise with thoughts, or co-arise with time and space. I mean, probably more accurately, I could say that thoughts, feelings, and perceptions are time and space. Anyway, the senses, so these senses that we take for granted as essential to the sense of being alive, of being me, they themselves exist so that we can directly experience imagination. We ultimately code and decode imagination through language, and it forms the basis of our manifest reality. So beingness, aliveness, this intimate sense of me or I, is very real. So real, in fact, that it is reality itself without any limit, boundary, or restriction. That's the truth of it. The codification of sensory input-output provides the temporal experience that is immediately known by and as being itself, by me. Practically speaking, this is accessible at any time. For obvious reasons, for reasons that should become obvious. So for instance, if you stop what you're doing right now and you look forward, and then keeping your head and eyes as a single unit, so you don't move your eyes, you keep your eyes fixed with your head, and then move your head left to right together at the same time, just notice that the knowing of the capacity of seeing or the capacity of sight is already present. You're not having to do anything to see. The seeing is already happening. And as it's happening, if you do this little exercise, you have that experience of knowing that it's happening immediately as it happens. Perhaps you feel a subtlety to that experience that you haven't noticed before. It doesn't matter if you don't, by the way. The point is actually about what is already present, which is the knowing. So it's the knowing of what's happening that is already there. So we can say that the knowing is pre-sent. Yes, it is already there. And the knowing is the gift that we overlook and take for granted. The presence of knowing confirms or proves that we, I, exist, and the knowing of presence seems to be evidenced by the capacity to see. However, seeing, as we've just experienced, was already known. Or more accurately I should say, seeing is always known and is always on. And in actual direct experience, knowing is pre-sensory. It's prior to the seeing and it is without quality. So what is the texture of knowing? When it appears that knowing and experiencing are actually inseparable. I mean, I know that I exist, as must you, that you exist, not me. I know that I am real, as you must know that you are real. I know that this is true. It's true for me, and I'm sure it's true for you. Therefore, I am just as you are. I am already present, already pre-sensing, already the unlimited, infinite, unimaginable imagining a knowing reality of limitation and restriction from a personal viewpoint. I am the ocean, experiencing itself fully as the wave, without ever losing my ocean identity. For reality to be real, it must already be whole, it must already be perfect, and it must already be complete. Therefore, just as I am, you must be this reality. You must exist, you must be real, and this must be true. And there's no boundaries, limits, or restrictions to that truth, reality, or existence.